Hey, everybody. I hope you're having a great week. As we talked about before, the borders that are holding us back, one of the things that we discussed was our comfort zone. And I said that comfort is a cage. And I believe that so true. And what I did not have the time to unpack on Sunday was some indicators that you're in the cage and don't know it. I think so many people, this is where they find themselves. They're unknowingly trapped in the cage of comfort, being held back from where they want to be in God's best, being able to see outside the cage where other people are, always frustrated but not quite knowing why they're not getting there. And so I want to give you three really quick kind of indicators, three things to think about that might help you and might reveal that you're maybe in the cage of comfort and didn't realize it. Number one is this: you can look at what you do. This is the obvious one. This is the easy one. And people that are in a comfort zone, they do what's easy, not what's hard or what's right. It's easy. And we live in a life, isn't it true, that our whole world is set up to give us what's easy? And so some indicators that you might be in a comfort zone that's holding you back is how you eat with fast food. We don't eat fast food because we're like, man, this is really healthy for me. The nutrients that come out of that hamburger or that fried chicken was incredible. No, we eat fast food because it's easy. Meal prep is hard. That's what planners do. That's what people that prepare do. No. We're just going to do what's easy. And it's holding us back. It holds back our energy. It holds back our cognitive abilities. I mean, there's so much tied to our nutrition and what we put into our bodies, and then where we want to be and how we want to perform with our bodies. And yet, for some, maybe there's a disconnect in fast food. Maybe it's about just your sleep patterns. You're just not disciplined with your sleep patterns. Let me just say something crazy. It's easy to stay up late, actually. It's hard to go to bed. I mean, so many people I talk to, they're tired, they're exhausted. I'm like, well, go to bed early. Oh, Nick, I couldn't. They've got all these excuses that are borders that are holding them back. And it's just easy. It's easy to sit in bed and watch several episodes of a TV show or sit and surf on your phone. It actually, it's hard. It's hard to set a bedtime at 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:30, whatever it is for you, and go to bed then. It's easy to sleep in. It's easy to do those things. And maybe for some of you, you're caught in a comfort cage that you never thought about, but you've got to make some decisions. Let me give you one more as we move on. There's so many of them, but let me give you one that maybe you didn't think of. It's easy to respond in anger and frustration at somebody. It's hard. It's hard to react and respond in a way that's loving and kind, even though they weren't to you. I mean, it's easy to lash out at somebody who lashes out to you. And then what do? We lash out because it makes us feel better. It's easy to do that. And then we spend the rest of our time apologize. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that and whatever, but it's easy. And for us, we've got to get out of that comfort cage and into our callings. And we got to shift the mentality from what's easy to what's hard. I've said this before, and it's not original with me, but comfort sacrifices what I want most for what I want now. That's what it is. But calling, where we're called to be, it sacrifices what I want now for what I want most. And so let me ask you the question: does the actions of your daily life, the habits, line up with the desires of your preferred future? If not, you might be in a comfort cage and never realize it. All right, that's number one, and it's what we do. Number two is this: it's how we talk. It's what we say. Maybe you never thought about this, but you can talk to somebody, or maybe you can talk to yourself and realize, you know what? They may be in a comfort calling. See, people that are in a comfort calling, what they talk about is their desires. They talk about what they want. They talk about what they want to do, and it's about them. They say things like, I deserve to be happy. I deserve this. And really, when you boil it down, what they talk about a lot is their rights. You probably wouldn't say it like that, but when you use words like what I want and I deserve and I need and whatever, it's really about your rights. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. I mean, that's not a bad thing per se. because all of us need things and all of us want things. But when that becomes the sole factor, when that becomes what you talk about most and what your conversations are about and what directs your actions, because I believe when we speak, it directs our actions. When that becomes the predominant thing, our rights, what we miss is our responsibilities. And that's really what people that are about calling talk about. I mean, if you talk about someone with calling, they'll talk about not what they want to do, but they'll ask a different question. They'll ask the question, what should I do? What should I do today? Hey, let me ask you a question really quickly. In your marriage, what should you do? Don't tell me about your rights and how they were wrong and, you deserve an apology. No, that's cool. But let me tell you, what should you do in your marriage? What should you do with your kids? What should you do in your job? What should you do with your finances? I mean, you have desires to be financially secure or out of debt or whatever, but so I know that you want that thing that you want to buy, or you want to eat that thing or consume that or be in that relationship or get out of that relationship. I know you want those things, but if you want to get outside of the comfort cage, because it is a cage that holds so many people back, what it requires is you to ask a different set of questions. It requires you to get up and go, okay, I know what I want to do, but I'm not going to focus on that. What should I do? That's the second thing. Third thing is this. It's how they think. The first one was what we do. The second one was how we talk. The last one is how we think. And this really is the fundamental one. And people that are in a comfort cage, they think about today. That's it. They think about today. And maybe it's the weekend. They work for the weekend. Maybe you say that. Maybe you've thought that. I work for the weekend. And all you're thinking about is this moment, this momentary kind of instance that is everything to you. And I'll tell you, if you do that, you're in a cage. And maybe you've never thought about it like that. And that's why we're talking about this. But you're not called to think about just today. In fact, if you would say that I'm a follower of Jesus, I believe in God, like, man, we're called to think about eternity. Not today, but tomorrow, and not literally tomorrow, but that one day someday that we'll be with God, that one day someday that all of this is made new. It's a different way to think, because when you think about today, you're going to make decisions based on right now. You're going to talk about right now. But when you shift from, it's not just about today. I can get through today. Why? Because I have a better tomorrow. I'm going to focus on tomorrow. Everything changes. One of my verses that I've been using quite a lot lately, and I shared it with my kids this morning over breakfast, was Proverbs 14:4. And this is a great verse, and it says, where there are no oxen, the manger is clean, but an abundant crops come by the strength of the ox. Man, I love that. Here's what that's saying, and I'm trying to teach my kids that. I hope you get this. He's saying every day you have a choice to make, an easy one or a hard one. Because where there are no oxen, guess what? The manger is clean. What he's saying is, what do oxen produce? And I don't want to be gross or whatever, but they produce filth. We'll just put it that way. You can use your imagination, but they produce something when you feed them, and it's gross, it's nasty, it smells, it's dirty. And what do you got to do? You got to clean it up. It produces something. And if you don't want any oxen, man, the manger is clean. If you don't want to do that, but if you want an abundant harvest, if you want crops that come in and do great things for you, if you want that financial, that relational, that spiritual growth, listen, it requires oxen. It requires work. But oxen come with filth. And so what he's saying is you have a choice. You have an easy one. It's not going to produce anything. It's going to be really simple. It's going to be really easy, but you're going to have clean barns and clean mangers, but you're not going to have that harvest that you want. Or you can get up and you can shovel some filth. You can shovel some dirt and some crap and some things, and you can use the power of that to produce the harvest that you want in those relationships, in your finances, in your walk with God. You get to make the decision. And so this month, this next season, I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to do three things. I want to encourage you to work on hard things, to not choose the easy path, but to choose the hard path. I want to encourage you to ask the right question in the critical relationships you have, in the critical moments, in when it comes to your health and your finances and your walk with God and your marriage and your parenting. What should I do? Not what do I want to do, but what should I do? And then the last one, I want to encourage you. I want you to pause. And I want you to shift your focus, not on just today, but I want you to view everything that you're thinking through, everything that you're walking through in light of eternity. Because when we do that, all of a sudden, everything, Scripture says, everything in this earth grows strangely dim in light of His glory and grace. And so, man, I don't know where you're at. I hope you get out of the comfort cage that is holding so many of us back. Have a great week. We'll see you this Sunday.